There's a really cool keyword that we can use in our queries in SQL Server called distinct. And the distinct keyword prevents the retrieval of duplicate items. Now, what it's really doing is it returns the first instance of a value based on the columns you're selecting, and then ignores all future occurrences or all duplicates of that value. Now, there are times that this really comes in handy with our database. And let me just point out here before I show you any demos, distinct can also be used with the average and sum functions. Let's first go take a look at some demos, and that's really the best way to understand what this thing's doing. So we're going to go out into the Management Studio. We'll connect up with a new query. We will set our environment to AdventureWorks 2012 so that we're executing our queries against that database. And for this one, I want to show you a different table. Let's do a select, and I'm just going to pull everything from the sales.sales territory table. And notice when it starts to bring that up, I can mouse down here and double click and finish that, okay, complete that query. And I will execute that. And notice what this brings up. We're going to play with this table a little bit more later on in the course. But notice here are the names of our territories. Here they are right here. We've got Northwest, Northeast, Central, Southwest, Southeast, Canada, France, Germany. That's good, but they've also got these grouped into what looks like regions or something, and we want to know really how many different regions are we selling into. This is a great table to look at because it's very easy to work this out in your brain and then see how the Query Optimizer and SQL Server's query engine's doing this. So notice we've got Northwest and Northeast are in the North American region, so Central, Southwest, Southeast, and then Canada's North America. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 6 instances of North America. We've got 2 of Europe here, then Pacific, and then Europe again. So how many regions or how many groups do we actually do business in? And same thing for US, the country region codes. Well, let's do the region country codes. Then I want to show you one other little kind of an offshoot thing you need to know about SQL Server 2012's querying as well. Let's do a select country region code from sales.sales territory. Now, I will highlight that and execute it, and notice we just got all of that information. Well, that's good, but we want to know how many country regions we're actually working in. Well, let's go down here and do a distinct. So let's select distinct country region code from sales.sales territory. Kick that from down to the next line so you can see it. So notice all we've changed is we've added the distinct keyword in here. Now notice what we get. Only those country region codes that are unique to the list. Okay, now I want to make sure you understand, you got to be careful with this, and you'll have to kind of test your queries to make sure. This is not an inclusive list of everything that's in the database table in country region code. This is an inclusive list. And actually, to make this a little easier, let's order by country region code so that you can see how that looks. Okay, so we'll order that by country region code. There they are. AU, there's 10 of them, right? But when we pull out the duplicates and we just get the distinct values, we now know how many country region codes we're doing business in. But again, understand we dropped 4 of them because 4 of them were duplicates. As long as that makes sense to you, you're okay. And that's a pretty neat thing. Think about if we want to send Christmas cards to all of our customers. Well, customers may have placed 15, 20 orders each all through the year. Well, we can select our customer's first, last name, and address and use distinct, and it will only give us the first instance of all of those. Now, let's go back to selecting everything from sales territory and execute it. And now let's add sales year to date to that. And so I'm just going to add country region code, comma, sales year to date. Now I'm going to run this again, and I want you to notice what happens. We got 6 lines before, now we got 10 back. Why? Because distinct reaches across all the column names. It's distinct row here, okay? And so the US, where we only had 1 listing of US before, now we have US with this amount for year to date. We have a region in the US with this amount. a region with this amount, and a region with this amount. Okay, so distinct went across all those columns. Here's what I want to tell you about using distinct. Make sure that you build a real simple example of the data set you're trying to get to, test it, and make sure that it's giving you what you really want, because it's very easy to create errant results using a keyword like this, because whoever's looking at that data may think that that's inclusive of all the data out there, and it's not. Now, we can make it a little more inclusive by using groups, and we'll talk about group by and all that a little bit later on in separate videos. But that is a quick look at using the distinct keyword to get distinct results from your record sets and from your tables.